Get ready for a powerhouse of inspiration. Principal Frederick Kafele. A highly regarded educator and a transformational leader, Principal Kafele has spent over 20 years in New Jersey's urban schools, making a lasting impact as both a master teacher and a turnaround principal. Under his leadership, the mighty Newark Tech transformed from a low-performing school to one of America's best, as recognized by U.S. News and World Report 3 times. A recipient of the prestigious Milken Educator Award, Principal Kafele is one of the most sought-after voices in school leadership and equity. He's delivered over 3,000 keynotes, workshops, and seminars across the nation, authored 13 books, including 7 ASCD bestsellers, and continues to empower leaders through his live-streamed AP and New Principals Academy. Please join us in welcoming the extraordinary Principal Frederick Kafele.
And we are live. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to week 271 of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me see who we got checking in here. We got a lot of y'all, man. Y'all jumping on here quick. That's good. Let's see. We got the good Dr. Rachel Edoweke in the building. President. I don't know if it's president-elect or president now, Maryland Association of Elementary School Principals, but she's in the building. Let's see, we got Nadira Coley in the building, right here in Jersey, Newark. Constance Sherrod is in the building. Dr. Sheikah Houston said, Constance, that you had received that promotion to assistant principal. So if that is true, that you did, and I assume you did, congratulations to you. Y'all give Constance Sherrod some love, man. I think she's a new assistant principal now. Give her some love in the comments. She's family. She's not one that just dropped by. She's family. Some people drop by for different guests, but this is fam. Michael Benton is in the building. Cincinnati, Ohio. AP Patrick Lawrence, Connecticut, in the building. Grace Castaneda in the building. Kyle, Texas. Robin Snowden, Harambe. See you soon, right? With the School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele. Harambe. Ronald Pugh. Just had an opportunity to spend some time with Ronald Pugh and his AP in the building at ASCD in San Antonio. We'll talk more about that soon. We got Mrs. Kinder in the building, Northern Virginia. Lysandra Brackens, North Carolina. Takesha High, Virginia. Leslie Akintunde, Northern Virginia. We got a lot of Virginia in here. LaKenya Rowland, Jersey, in the building. Yolanda McKinney is down in Texas. Chancellor Davis, Las Vegas, Nevada. About 103 yesterday. A little hot out there. John Few, I'll be there this week, right? Bring that temperature down a little bit. Actually, I'm never outside when I'm in Vegas, though, so we're good. I'll be in the Caesars Palace at the Innovative School Summit, but we'll talk more about that. John Few is in the building. He said, "Good morning. I've watched all your sessions. I mean, you've seen all 271. Sometimes something happens and I have to watch it later. That's all right. That's why they're on YouTube, man. You watch them anytime you can, because I know everybody can't tune in live. Appreciate you, John. Stacy Joy out in Los Angeles, California. Dr. Rella Hicks is down in Augusta, Georgia. Rodney Richardson, where we at? Pontiac, Michigan. MPA Jaguar, Josh Tovar, part of the Fantastic Four. The Sunday, he bats cleanup on Sundays. We start off with Sean Hurt, 10 o'clock. These are all the Facebook platforms, but they're on other platforms as well, as I am. But Sean Hurt, Facebook Live, to school turnaround principal, 10 o'clock every Saturday morning, followed by Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor with Create and Educate, followed by AP and New Principals Academy, hosted by myself, and then Sundays, Josh Tovar. So check us all out. You know, don't look at just one. Check us all out. We don't overlap. You know, we're compatible, but we don't overlap. Everybody's got their lane, you know, and that's a good thing. So that when you tune in, you're not getting the same thing for each platform, but you're getting something different from all of us. And that's you know, we complement each other extremely, I might say extraordinarily well. So make sure that you tune into all of us, right? That matters. Let's see where we at. I said Rodney Richardson. I said, oh, there's Principal Otis Kitchen II. Good to see you, sir, down in Tampa, Florida. Sherry Jones, Missouri City, Texas. Melissa Jones Chunu, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Dr. Verenda Williams, PhD. Good morning to you. Dara Savage is in Delaware. Good morning to you. Where we at? There's Dr. Sheikah Houston. There's Dina Freeman. She's out there in San Juan. I appreciate you, Dina. Went all the way here on vacation in San Juan and still seeing it not robbery to tune in to the Fantastic Four. We got David Bell in the building. Grand Rising from Benton Harbor. Let me yell at my son real quick. Do me a favor. Go on this chip platform and make sure my signal is strong because I'm seeing something that's giving me 2 bars. Oh, okay. All right. Or your computer. Yeah. All right. Here we go. I'm getting ready to shut it down. Matter of fact, somebody just tell me, is my video and audio good? Because I got these 2 bars instead of 3 on my screen, so I don't know what that is. I've been noticing that for the past probably 3 weeks now, but maybe it's just a thing. But let me know if we clear here. Yolanda said it's good. She said it's very clear. All right, that's good. So yes, everybody says good. Yeah, I just need to know that, because we record these, man, and we want to keep them forever. So it's just showing me this weird signal that I only have 2 bars instead of 3. So I appreciate y'all. Let me just get it going because I got so much here. We good, Baruti. Hey y'all. Good morning. Greetings. Welcome to week 271 of the AP and New Principals Academy. Let me ask you something, man. I do this every week. For those of you who may be new, you would be new to this, but the fam, the regulars, we call the regulars fam. I ask the same question every week, man. I don't even deviate from it. How y'all feeling, man? How you feeling? Right? And every week it's like, I put a lot of thought into not only a lot of thought into my planning in addition to the writing of an agenda. I'm also just thinking like things I'm gonna say that are not written, and one of those things is how you feeling, and and then I'm saying to myself, you need to change that question because this is me talking to myself, because the question evokes the politics of the world, right? Particularly the politics of America. The question evokes that. So sometimes I'm thinking, I really don't want to be political on here. But then on the other hand, education is a political act, right? It is political. So we're engaged in politics, right? Just by the fact that we're talking education. So, how you feeling? We had the big, beautiful bill. So, I don't know how various people are impacted by that. But it's certainly something I spent too much of my time watching on television. I'm not a news guy. I'm a local news guy, but I'm not a cable news guy. That's just not my thing. But I'm finding that I'm probably one of the biggest regulars that they have, because I just want to be informed. I could read and all that kind of stuff, but it's just kind of convenient to watch it because my makeshift office is right here in the living room. So I'm able to do my work, which is, I work harder on the administrative side than I do on the actual speaking and consulting side, if that makes sense to somebody out there. So I can do the administrative part, which is extremely tedious and boring: contracts, invoices, all sorts of paperwork and emails. And then I could have the TV on while I watch, so that's how we make that happen. But still, be that as it may, Jamie Treadwell McCord, good to see you down in Augusta. How y'all feeling, man? You chose leadership. So regardless of whatever's happening in the political sphere, or just in your lives, we still got to find a way to elevate, get back to where we need to be. If we're not where we need to be, right? We still got to find a way to do that. That always matters. And I know you understand that, Dr. Fitzhugh. So make sure that you always are doing whatever needs to be done to get you to that plateau where you need to be. Enough said. Let me go through my rundown here. I only got one shout out in terms of places I've been this week. Shout out to the ASCD ISTE annual conference. What a time I had. I didn't stay the whole conference. I typically don't. I needed to take it down. You all know I've been on the road like super heavy since May. Maybe April. I don't know. I just know that I feel like I live in airports. I live on airplanes. I live in hotels, live in rental cars. So I decided, I said, let me go to ASCD. I did a pre-conference session. Shout out to them folks, because there was a lot of fam in that room. And then I did a session on that Monday. So Sunday and Monday, I flew out of here after I did the broadcast. Some of you probably read I had the 3-hour delay, had to drive 4 hours to San Antonio from Houston, got to the hotel at like after 3, went to bed 4, got up at 6, and did a 5-hour presentation. So that's part of the life. So that's why I said I needed a break. So I'm on vacation right now. I'm not traveling anywhere. I ain't going. I don't want to see an airport. I don't want to see a boat. I don't want to see nothing. All I want to see is that couch sitting right over there. So I'm home for 8 days, just chilling, man. Chilling. That's it. Chilling. I mean, we'll find a park to go to or something, right? But I'm or even a play or New York. But I'm chilling. Matter of fact, I'm going to see the New York Liberty, right? So, but I'm not getting on a plane. You follow me? So so it just feels good. But shout out to ASCD ISTE, man. They gave me a theater. Can you imagine? I mean, I ain't say a large room. They gave me a theater with 2 balconies. I'm like, and I said to the people when I walked in there, I said, why am I in here? Right? Like, who's going to come to this theater? I said, couldn't you just have put me in a room? Right? They said, you didn't see the line outside yet, did you? I said, no, I didn't. They said, okay, we can open the door now and you'll see why we put you in a theater. When I saw them people come in there, and then I still was thinking to myself, but it's 2 balconies. So then when I was on the stage, I looked up, I said, oh my God, they in both balconies, right? So shout out to God, right? That's what we going on that one. Shout out to God that allowed the kid from East Orange that had a dream to be doing just what I'm doing. And but I had to work my butt off, y'all. And to be able to stand on that stage. And I told the people when I started, I said, look here, y'all, this is a big venue. It's a big stage. It's a big room, but do not expect me to be in keynote mode, because I'm not. I'm treating this as if I'm in a breakout session room with 50 folks in the room, and that's how I delivered it. Right? No keynote and all that extra, if you understand what I mean. This was just, I just want to teach. And that's what I told the people at ASCD. I said, I just want to teach, man. I just want to teach. So I treated an auditorium of a huge auditorium and 2 balconies as if it was a small room with 50 people. That's how we did that. Shout out to God. I see a lot of y'all repeating that. Yeah, shout out to God, y'all. That's it, baby. That's it. Let's go. School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele is right around the corner, man. 2 weeks, right? So if you haven't registered, come on, man. Come on. July 15 and 16. We're gonna have a good time, man. We're gonna have a good time. And while you're there, you get a copy of this when you walk in the room. It'll be sitting right at the registration table. You get a copy of this. What is my value instructionally to the teachers I supervise? So you can go to principalkafele.com, scroll down, and you'll see it on the homepage. Click the link. Come on and join me. Spend a couple dollars, right? Come on and join me, and I'll make it worth your while. We talking instructional leadership for 2 days. I like it. Y'all writing it, man. Shout out to God. I say it again. Shout out to God, because I don't care. I hate somebody say, "Uh-oh, he can ready to deviate." Listen, you could put forth all the work you want, right? All the work you want. I mean, I know I work. I work hard. I can look in my mirror and say, "Dude, you be working," right? But here's the thing. God even guides the working steps. He don't just create the miracle, right? God creating the working steps so that I'm moving in the right direction. See, it's easy to work hard, but work unintelligently at the same time. It's a lot of hard-working people who work unintelligently, right? So they feel like, oh man, I'm putting in the work, I'm putting in the time, I'm putting in the hours, but the way you work ain't smart. So the one that's working less time than you is getting way ahead of you, because you're doing all this extraneous stuff that ain't necessary. So you can't just work hard without working smart, so the guy can intervene and take you to where you're trying to get to, man. Let me stop preaching, man. So let's go. Hey, y'all, a lot of people always want to come and join me in these sessions, but most of them, they're PD. You know, you can't come to that. You can't come. Like I'm doing a teacher session somewhere. You can't just walk in there, right? Or a principal session somewhere. You can't just walk in there. But I got these public sessions for the summer. Let me give you this rundown real quick. I did it last week. Let me do it again this week. This week, July 10th, I'll be at Caesar's Palace. I remember speaking in places like Caesar's Palace was just a far distant dream. You're never going to get in there. Actually, I did say I was going to get in there, but you know what I mean. You know, I'm exaggerating, right? But Caesar's Palace, I've keynoted there multiple times at the Venetian and the Palazzo, the Planet Hollywood, and where else? Some other place on that strip that I can't think of. But you know, I got the MGM Grand coming up on July 22nd, right? That's me and David Copperfield gonna be occupying the same space. But that's later. That's July 27th. So here we go. July 10th, Innovative School Summit, Las Vegas. Come on and join me. Right. July 12th, United Conference, NASSP, NAESP in Seattle. Man, I might need one. They gave me 1,000-seat room last year. Let's see what happens in Seattle. That was in I don't remember where we were, but it was a lot of people in that piece, right? July 14th, the Hive Conference, HIVE in Orlando. That's the keynote and breakout. July 15 and 16, that's in Raleigh, the School Leadership Institute. I told y'all, go on the website and register. July 17, SREB, Making Schools Work, New Orleans. That's I'll be doing 2 sessions for leaders there. So come on and join me there. And I got more to say about that particular conference in that space, but I'll do that at another time when it gets closer to the date. And then July 22nd is when I'm at the Corwin Annual Visible Learning Conference with John Hattie and all these other big name folks at the MGM Grand. I mean, I went to see Sade at the MGM Grand, man. Now I can say, Sade, you ain't got nothing on me. I ain't writing no hit songs though, but I wrote some hit books, right? So you know, we good. So here we go. Listen, y'all. I got to bring it down a little bit now. You know, I'm acting a little silly here. Yesterday, I wrote a post this morning, and I said I wrote a second post. So I wrote 2 advertisements for today's session, but I wrote this secondary post, and I said I want y'all to tune in on time this morning. Because I want to share this with you. Every July 4th, and you know, if I lose a couple friends over this comment, if I lose a couple of clients over this comment, I'm good with it, man. I will be 65 in October. I applied for my Social Security. I already received a pension, so I'm in a good place, man. I know how to invest my money, right? So like I always say, no tweet is going to kill me. You know, if I write some mindless tweet and folks say, you know, to use the word cancel me, I'm good until like maybe when I turn about 120, I might be struggling. But until then, financially, I'm good. Right. So now I got this Social Security check coming with my pension. So if I lose somebody because of what I'm getting ready to say, I'm gonna be fine financially. Right. So let me say it now. I had to give y'all that backdrop. Listen, y'all. Listen. Every July 4th, I go sit out on my steps outside and I take this book with me. This is volume 2 of a 5-volume set, right? This is volume 2, Life and Writings of Frederick Douglass. Well, this volume 2 set has a speech that you all should be familiar with. It's called What to the Slave is Your 4th of July. Once again, by the way, hit that share button, hit that retweet, hit that repost, tag somebody, text somebody, hit up them Facebook leadership groups, hit up anybody that needs to hear not only where I'm getting ready to go, but this entire message today. I got a lot to say. But so I sit on my steps outside, and this is what I wake up and I go outside and I read that speech. Some years I've sat and read the whole speech. Other years I read excerpts and kind of process the excerpts. But this is my ritual. Let me tell you why. 4th of July is like a downer for me. That's the part I said maybe I might lose somebody. I lost like 3 or 4 friends on Facebook yesterday. I don't know if it was because of my Frederick Douglass post. I don't know what it was, but I did lose 3 or 4. I lost 4 yesterday because I brought in 4 new friends. That's what it was. Right? It was probably because of my Facebook, my 4th of July post. But let me say this to y'all, man. I'm sharing this not to bring in my politics. This is education. What I'm getting ready to share with you is what in today's political climate will never, ever, never, ever, ever, ever make it into a classroom in those states that are running scared, right? It'll never make it in there. So, but my position is this. I'm glad I have a platform to express my position that anything Frederick Douglass, in terms of any speech he gave, or any of the realities of Independence Day, July 4, 1776. I mean, the reality, this is American history. And you can't push this under a rug because you don't want people to know. Because too many of us out here that have a knowledge of history that are going to continue to sound the alarm, right? So here you've got Independence Day, but the contradiction is that African Americans who were enslaved remained enslaved for a generation, 89 years, right? So one could say 2 generations, depending on lifespans of people. But for 89 additional years, and when I say 89, my calculation, I want you to know the calculation I'm using. I'm using the calculation to December 6, 1865, when the 13th Amendment was ratified. Now, that's not ratified by the individual states, because some states go beyond December 6, 1865, and they go into 1866. But I'm saying in terms of U.S. Constitution, until the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, was ratified, slavery still exists. Don't tell me nothing about no Emancipation Proclamation. As long as that 13th Amendment is not ratified, or doesn't exist and then ratified, then slavery still exists. So when we, 4th of July, I'm a black man. What is there for me to celebrate? Like I was sitting here talking to my sons yesterday. I'm an American. I take pride in that. I love America. Let me tell you why. Because my ancestors built it. That's why. Drop the mic. Right? My ancestors built it. So how do I not love this? Right? So going back to enslavement with free labor, slave labor, all the way up to post-enslavement, still black folks playing significant roles in molding, shaping, building, constructing this country, not just in terms of physically, culturally, etc. So I'm not going to abandon this. I'm not going to disconnect from it. This is mine, right? But that 4th of July Independence Day is not mine. That's the point. That's not mine. It disturbs me, the volume of fireworks that I see. And I'm not talking about the people with the fireworks at the places where you pay to go. I'm talking about the people with the fireworks in the street, right? It pains me to see that, to hear that, to be ducking from it in the context of what the day represents. I'm like, really? We blowing fireworks on this day of all days? So I wanted to share with you this one passage that epitomizes the entire speech. The speech is long, and for those of you that don't know Frederick Douglass, you better ask somebody. Ask Google, right? Let that start you off, and then that'll take you to his writings, because he's got the autobiography, he's got other writings, and then he's got the writings about him, writings that have been transcribed, I should say, and speeches that have been transcribed, and then the writings themselves. So this book, again, this is volume 2 of a 5-volume set. They're all this thick, right? The man was an escaped, I don't like to use the word slave, but escaped slave. He was an escaped, captured, enslaved. He escaped, right? And but before he escaped, the wife of his male master secretly taught him how to read. So he knew how to read. He had but not only could he read, he had a full command of the English language. So he beats up his master. He escapes, and then he's this abolitionist for the rest of his life. But if you ever read his writings or read his speeches, because I don't know if there's any recordings out there, I have no idea. But if you ever read it as recordings of other people reciting his speeches, I'm talking about him. His command of language is incredible for someone who was enslaved and escaped slavery and never went to school. The man spoke like he was like some Ivy League professor, right? And I say that with zero exaggeration. So I want to read this one passage. It's just a paragraph that epitomizes this entire speech that he delivered on July 5th, 1852, called "What to the Slave is Your 4th of July?" And I might add, I'm not going to read this part, but in the beginning of the speech, he says, "Why am I invited here? You know, why me, a black man who escaped enslavement? Why did you invite me to give this speech?" That's how he starts it off. So he says, way within the body, he says, "What to the American slave is your 4th of July?" I'm just going to do a paragraph. And for those of you that said I tuned in for your topic, this is my topic. This is my preliminary, right? So, what to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity, your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciation of tyrants brass fronted and fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality hollow mockery, your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings with all your religious parade are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes with which disgrace a nation of savages. Again, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States at this very hour. I want to read that last sentence one more time. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of the United States at this very hour. That's just a paragraph, y'all. It's a lot there. That's just a paragraph. This speech is like 15 pages, right? And it's in very small font. It's like 10-point font, right? 9-point font. You got to get this to get the 5-volume set. But if you want the speech immediately, just Google it, right? If you listen to the speech that James Earl Jones does, that's just an excerpt. In fact, it's mostly what I just read. That's just a 5-minute excerpt. You have to get the whole speech. So just Google the speech, "What to the Slave is Your 4th of July," and it'll come up. And take carve out some time. Boom, boom, boom. Carve out some time and just read that speech. And like I said, I read it every year, every 4th of July. That's how I start my day, because I gotta center myself in the wholeness of the day. This is not one of my favorite days. I'm glad it's over. Last night, I wrote in a group text to my family. I said, it was after midnight. I said, I'm glad it's over. You know, I'm just not into that, man, because I know history. At least I know a little something, right? And it's when you think about the fact now if it was an Independence Day and all the black people were free, then I'm good. I'll celebrate, right? But you got your independence in a bloody war, the Revolutionary War, which black folks fought on both sides, the English, the colonial, the continental side, and the British side. On the continental side, black soldiers fought between 5,000 to 10,000 soldiers on our side. And then on the British side, 20,000 plus, because on both sides they were promised their freedom. Didn't happen. See, no, sir, man. We supposed to be doing leadership, right? But I hope somebody will go further and do the reading. I appreciate all these comments I'm seeing in the side here. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Hey, y'all, check it out. My monologue today. My monologue. Somebody said monologue. I thought that was the monologue. Nah, I got to do a leadership monologue. Today's monologue entitled "Your Data is Your Story." How do you like the story you've authored? Once again, your data is your story. How do you like the story that you authored, that you wrote, that you have written? What am I saying? Let me keep it short, y'all. Listen, I want you to, here we are in the summer months. And as Sean Hurt turnaround principle so eloquently broke down last week, this week, probably next week, where what he's giving you all these checklists to say, here's some things that you need to be thinking about toward opening up the new school year, right? Well, one of those things is your data, right? You may have visited that data at the end of the year. You may be visiting that data right now, but you got to stay on top of that data. That data never gets old. It never gets irrelevant. But that data, your attendance data, your tardiness data, your discipline data, your academic data, your whatever data, right? Everything in life is data. Me talking to you this morning is data. Everything in life is data. Everything in that school is data. Well, let me tell you something. And then let's look at that academic data for a second. So we can talk about aggregates all we want, right? Or we could break it down by content area. So our ELA data, our math data, our science data, our history data, but then and all the other courses. But then we can go further. We can break that data down by skill set. And then we can even break it down further. So we can keep disaggregating, keep disaggregating, keep disaggregating. And you may find that, yes, we made increases, for example, in English. But when you start disaggregating, but you find that there's certain skill sets like just the writing the theme of an essay, right? That opening paragraph, you're finding that students are struggling in that area, but they did so well in other areas that it kind of masked it, right? I'm saying to you that whatever that data is saying, as far as my topic, your data is your story. How do you like the story you authored? Your data, as I've said on this platform in the past, I like using the word story over the word data because, see, your data cumulatively, it's the story of your school. It's the story of your leadership. It's the story of who you are. It's your story. So I'm asking you to ask yourself, how do I like my story? You can't look at data under your leadership, particularly if you're a principal. You can't look at that data and point fingers at people. You're the leader of that building. Your name is written invisibly on the facade of the building. That's your data. So you can't point fingers. You got to go here. That's you. That's your data. So I'm asking you, with the data that you've accumulated over the course of the last school year, how do you like it? Said differently, how do you like the story that you authored? How do you like the story that you wrote? So I'm saying this to you. I'm a writer. I don't like to call myself a writer. I'm an author. Writer evokes something far superior than what I do, right? I'm an author. And you know, when I'm writing a book, I don't just write a rough draft and say to the publisher, okay, here it is, dude, work your magic. Nah. I'm editing and revising. Let's switch that sequence. I'm revising and editing probably for a longer period than I did the writing of the draft. So I'm saying to you, with your data, with that being your story, now you got to go into it and you got to do some revising of your practice, some editing of your practice so that you produce a different finished product, so that you produce a different final or finished copy. See? But if you just going to go on the initial data, so to speak, then you may not even be in your job very long. Or you may not be as respected as you once were, or even revered as you once were, because you're not demonstrating any growth anymore. You have stagnated. So you got to take that data, treat it as your book, treat it as your manuscript, and revise it. Revise it. Revise it. Edit it. Edit it. Edit it. Get yourself some proofreaders. What does that mean? That's your accountability people that are around you. Trusted people. You know, we had that monologue a few weeks back. Trusted people. People that you can really count on. People that you know you have concluded these folks really have your back. They are really in this fight with you. And now those become your proofreaders. See, those are the people, those are your accountability partners, right? So now, because see, you have who you are in your mind, but now they may see something different. And you want to hear what they got to say, even though they're not in the building with you. Aspiring principals, I see you, Edouard, Jean, same thing. Having those people around you, because once you aspire to become a leader, you got to start thinking like a leader, right? That matters. That matters. So again, all I'm saying to you in this monologue as I close it out, I want you to own your data. I don't want you to say, okay, this is the English department's data. This is the history department's data. This is the PE and health department's data. This is the foreign language department. No. This is your data. I want to encourage you, if you haven't done it already, own your data. That's your data. That is the book that you wrote. Your name is on that data. So you might have to revise it. You might have to edit it, and keep in mind that as you revise it, as you edit it, you got and bring in your proofreaders. Your proofreaders, that's your accountability partners. But if your proofreaders are yes people, you know, because we know there's a lot of people in the world that got yes people around them. Yes, you're the greatest, right? No, if that's the kind of people around you, you got the wrong people in your orbit, baby. You got the wrong people in your orbit. You need people to say to you, nah, dog. you might want to rethink that, right? It may sound good, but it may not produce the results that you want, right? So you want to make sure you got people in there who have the audacity, the courage to look you in your eyes and say to you, nah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that decision. I don't agree with the way you're moving. Because if you got all cheerleaders, the people in your corner, all cheerleaders, yay, got the pom-poms. Go ahead, principal, you doing it. And you know you suck, right? If I could use that word. Well, you need somebody that's going to say to you, hold up, pump the brakes. You're not going to survive this if you continue to proceed that way. So again, your data is your story. That's your book. How do you like the story that you've authored? Enough said, y'all. Enough said. Let's go. Sheikah told me to keep it real. That's what we doing. Oh, Kwame Simmons in the building. Let's go, my brother. It's game time. The summer is time for preparation for the elevation. It's my brother Kwame Simmons, man. He had some sessions at the ASCD conference as well. If y'all don't know Kwame, he's been on this platform, and make sure that you go and check him out go to Facebook, Kwame Simmons, and then see how you connect with him and all that. He's putting out some great stuff. Yes, y'all saying a lot of stuff to me, man. Let me stay focused, man. Let me stay focused. Listen here, y'all. My topic today is midsummer self-assessment of your leadership. Midsummer self-assessment of your leadership. I'm going to put some headings on the screen, but I really want you to take notes. I gotta bring Sean Hurt back into this too. Sean is doing what I wanted to do. The problem with me is Sean comes on an hour before I do. So by the time Sean finishes doing what he's doing, I'm like, well, there ain't no need for me to do that, right? So You know, because it's really no need. You know, you know, especially when I said about us complimenting one another, you just go to Sean's page and listen to what Sean Hurt had to say. So when I listened to him this morning while I was sitting at the bagel shop, I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Sean is giving all these checklists of things you need to do. So I only go solo on the first Saturday of every month. So the first Saturday in August, what I'm going to do is say with everything that Sean's been talking about, now I want to put it into this plan that I have shared on here in the past, which is the situation analysis, the goals, and the strategy. So in other words, whatever you deemed, whether it be from Sean or just you just knew, I want to show you how to take that and put it into a document that breaks down where you are, where you're going, and how you'll get there and how you'll sustain it. That'll be the first Saturday in August, right? So keep going back to Sean's last 2 weeks and see what he's saying in terms of things you need to be doing right now, right? Right now. And then what I'm going to do in that last week of August is say, okay, now here's how you take all of that and put it in this 4-step plan of action, which I call a blueprint, a leadership blueprint, right? So that'll be the first Saturday in August. So in the meantime, let's get to today's topic. Sean, I appreciate Sean, man. I really do. I appreciate Sheikah and Tammy. I know I'm calling them by their first name, so I'm personalizing them right now. And I really appreciate Josh and Marty, which is Marie. I'm trying to flex my Spanish, right? So you know, I just appreciate my team here. You know, this is what we do. All right, so y'all, let me give you some things on the screen. I'm gonna kind of go back and forth between these words on the screen and seeing your comments. I may not put all the comments up because I'm going solo today. Usually I put them up while the other person's speaking, right? So listen, again, topic: Midsummer self-reflection of your leadership. I just want you know, we at Midsummer for most of us, but I know a lot of folks in the Northeast and some of the areas like the Northeast in terms of school year. I know they're saying, don't you put me in no Midsummer category, man. We just finished in the end of June. I get it. I understand. But just in terms of the sake of what I'm discussing, just call it Midsummer. Maybe you won't even look at it right now. You come back to it at the end of July, right? But at least get this information down. So I want to look at a continuation from one more thing, y'all. If you didn't see my last solo session, week 267, it was called Let's Self-Assess Our Leadership Effectiveness Over the Past School Year. That is not what this is. This is a part 2 of what that was. So if you didn't see part 1, I strongly encourage you, go back to week 267, just go back 4 weeks. And it's called Let's Self-Assess Our Leadership Effectiveness Over the Past School Year. I couldn't fit it all in one session. I spent 2 hours. So I put the rest here. So here we're going to talk about you in relationship to your school. And then we're going to talk about you in relationship to the parents. And when I do that plan next week, I'm going to also infuse in there you in relationship to the community outside, right? So let's go. Let me put this first one up. And it says, how did my leadership impact the overall climate and culture of my school? Hit that share, hit that retweet, hit that repost. Let them know we are here. We are live. Let folks know we're here. How did my leadership impact the overall climate and culture of my school? Let me be as brief on these as I can because I got 24 of them. But let me make sure that I'm thorough at the same time. So if that's even a possibility to be brief and thorough, I'm gonna try my best to do it. I want you to think about the climate of your school, the mood, the culture of your school, the lifestyle, how you were living. And I want you to think just reflect right now and ask yourself, was it what you would want it to be? Right? Was it what you would want it to be? The climate, like just what you feel when you walk in that building, when you walk through that building, when you're in there all day, nothing to do with the culture, just what do you feel? I mean, there's a relationship, but I'm kind of isolating. What do you feel in there? Is so not so much what you feel in isolation, but what are you imagining others are feeling? Your teachers are feeling, your staff, your students are feeling, the rest of the staff is feeling. What is the mood there? And then the culture, just the way we go about life in the building, right? So with the two, I'm simply asking you, was it what you would want it to be, right? Are you completely satisfied with the climate of your school? Are you completely satisfied with the culture of your school? So then my question becomes in two part. What did your leadership have to do with that climate and that culture being what it is right now, right? What did your leadership have to do with that? Right now, I want to be very clear. You didn't hear me say, what did you, the leader, have to do with that? You all know that I always make that distinction between leader and leadership, right? Your leadership is everything. The leader is just the guy I see on my camera, right? So on my screen. So you, the leader. So I'm asking, what role, what impact did your leadership play on the climate and culture of your school, whatever the climate and culture of your school were? So let's say that when I asked the question about your feelings about the prevailing climate and culture, and you said, yeah, I'm satisfied. It was good. I think the climate and the culture are working in my school, right? So then my question to you is, okay, what impact did your leadership play in the climate being what it is, the culture being what it is, that met your satisfaction? But let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum, and let's ask the question this way. Let's say that you're being completely honest with yourself because you want to grow, and you said, I'm not satisfied with the climate in my school right now. I'm not. I'm not satisfied with the culture of my school. I'm not. Okay, then I got the same question. What impact did your leadership play in producing this climate, this culture that you are not satisfied with? What impact did your leadership play in producing this climate, this culture that you are not particularly satisfied with? Because now what that's saying to me, because we're talking about your leadership in relationship to your school, that you have certain work to do, not only in terms of making the culture that much more conducive to high academic performance and the climate the same thing, but you've got work to do on you, your leadership, as it relates to the relationship between leadership, climate, and culture, right? So you've got work to do there. So when we talk about, like Sean this morning with the checklist, there's a piece to add to the checklist. Sean probably talked about, because I don't have it all memorized, right? But that's a part of your checklist that, the climate is not what I want. The culture is not what I want. But you can't point your finger at teacher A, teacher B, instructional coach C, custodian D. No, you got to go here. Flip it. Put it on you. You got to go there. Okay, what is it about me, my leadership, that it's not where I needed to be at this time, right? Let's go. I got a lot to cover, y'all. I could do a whole session just on any one of these. Number two, was the climate and culture of my school conducive to high academic performance? So what I'm saying here, how do you perform, your students perform at high levels when there's not a climate, when there's not a culture to support it? See, I know that Dr. Houston, Sheikah Houston, is doing these culture walks. You may want to go to her page and find out what that is beyond what she talked about on Create and Educate this morning, because that may be something that's transferable that you may want to bring her to your school to do the training on this culture walk, right? So I'm saying here, to repeat the question, was the climate and culture of my school conducive to high academic performance? Well, you could look at your data and say, wow, we're not where we want to be, and reach the wrong conclusions as to why you're not where you want to be. You could say, oh, the teaching is not at the level that we would want it to be. And I'm saying to you, maybe it has nothing to do with the teaching. Let me fix my screen right quick. I don't like the way I'm looking here. I like that better. All right. So Guess we showing too much in the background. All right, so now you may be looking at data, or as instructional leader, you may be looking at certain practices, and you're reaching certain conclusions, but that it may look like that's a good place to be and to start, but you may find out that that's not the problem. It could be that the culture is not conducive to high academic, let me get myself straight, high academic performance, not the not anything going on with the teacher as far as pedagogy, right? It may be a culture that's just not conducive to youngsters coming in, watch this word, with the willingness to put forth their best effort. So now you got to look at you again as it relates to your leadership in conjunction with the culture. And is there a correlation between my leadership and the culture that emanates out of that? And you concluded that this is not the culture that we need in order for us to perform at optimal levels. That's what I'm saying. So you gotta take a look at that. Number 3, I'm gonna keep moving, y'all, because I know I was long on my monologue and everything else before that. So let's go. Number 3. Was my school a welcoming environment for each of my students under my leadership? Now, one might say, why do you have that one? I mean, of course. Nah, it's not an of course, right? Let me go back to the comments so I can see y'all. All right. No, it's not an of course, right? See, some kids, some scholars, some students, some youngsters can walk into a school and they happen to be popular students, and people flock around them and they love them and they want to be attached to them. You understand what that is when you got those popular students. But then let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum again. And you got some students that nobody knows, right? That they haven't been embraced by the popular culture of the popular students in your school, right? They're kind of in isolation, or those particular students have kind of gravitated to one another, and they're not known by everybody. They're not popular and all that kind of thing. They're great kids. They're just not in the mainstream of the student body, if you will, right? So now they know that. They know that. So now they walk into a school, and because of that, because even with some of those popular students, even some adults gravitate to them, right? They're fun, they're funny, they're entertaining, whatever it is, they're popular. But what about that one that no one knows their name, and now they walk into the building, right? Is that a welcoming environment for them? Huh? Does that help them? Right? Do they feel good about self when they walk into that particular school? Or is that a school under your leadership? Because this is all about you and your school. And you said, I have some students who are going around this school under the radar. I have some students in this school who nobody knows. Nobody sees them, right? We don't make a big deal over them. That's you. That's you, leader. What are you doing to ensure that regardless of that youngster, all the youngsters, they're feeling good about being in your building? I got to stop and pause, man. We got y'all. Some of y'all be calling me the GOAT. No, the real GOAT just popped on here. We got Dr. Gloria Latson Billings in the building, right? Good morning to you, Doc. We got to stop and pause when you come on here, right? That's the real GOAT, right? So when y'all be calling me the GOAT, I mean, I'm flattered by it, but the GOAT, we got Dr. Gloria Latson Billings in the building. And she's been on this platform, by the way. It's been a couple of years, so go back, scroll back, and check out that conversation that we had, right? Good to see you, Dr. Billings. Good to see you. All right, here we go. So, leader, you got to go here. You got to look at you. What is it about my leadership that every youngster in the building feels special? I could do a whole session. I could do a whole Saturday morning just on that question. Let me ask it again. What is it about every youngster in that building coming under your leadership, that each of them feel special in your school. Let me pause for a second. Let me let that marinate. See, are there some students in your building that do not feel special? And we're not talking about because of things in their home life, their neighborhood life. I mean, because of being in your school. There's nothing about being in that building that gives attention to me. And I don't mean that youngster wants to be singled out and all that. I don't mean that. All I mean is that youngster is not flying under the radar and unseen, unheard. That youngster is just as valued as the kid that last night put up a 40 piece. For those of you that don't know sports, scored 40 points in the basketball game. And now as he walks through the front door, as she walks through the front door, such as Dr. Gloria Latson Billings' granddaughter that plays in the WNBA, right? By the name of Billings. So when that youngster walks into the building and everybody's going crazy, what about that youngster that didn't score 40? But we show love as well. But see, that's a part of your leadership, somebody. That youngster could be underperforming because I feel unseen, unnoticed, and unwelcome. I promise y'all, everybody on this call and everybody who will see the video later, you all have that youngster in your school. All of you do, right? Let's go. Next one. Number 4. Were each of my students emotionally safe in my school? Let me tell y'all something. When I was putting this together, and I just said it, but I'm gonna say it again. All of these are a topic. I'm rushing because I got 24, right? But all of these are an isolated topic. So that student that doesn't have the popularity, that student that a family cannot afford to wear or buy the expensive sneakers or shoes, the expensive garment, right? The expensive hair, right? That youngster that just cannot afford that, right? Maybe can afford the hair, but can't afford to have it put in, right? So I guess I'll leave that right there. So that youngster. And then when you got a toxic culture, and now that youngster is subjected to certain levels and degrees of ridicule. What is it about your leadership that youngster is not subjected to the harassment, to the ridicule, to the teasing, to being laughed at? Because my family can't afford what your family has, right? Or if I can keep it real, you making drug money on the street and I'm not, so I can't have the things that you have, right? If I can keep it real. Some of y'all don't like real, but that's if I can keep it real, right? So I'm saying to you, your leadership is significant in ensuring that I don't have that. I don't have what you have. But can I still be safe here emotionally? Or let's look at it through a different lens. I'm just not popular. Can I be safe here emotionally? Let's look at it through a different lens. My worldview is not like yours, right? I see the world the way I see the world, right? So I'm a reflection of the way I see the world. So you all, the majority, you into what you into. But I'm a little bit different from that, right? I look different. I speak differently. I talk about things that are not the things you talk about. My interests are not like yours, right? And Dr. Latson Billings says the unseen anonymous students are dangerous. Think Columbine. There you go. So there's yet another perspective of that isolated, unseen student, right? So I'm saying to us, that's leadership. And again, I want to be very clear for people that tune in here later than others. I'm not saying that's you, the leader. I'm not using that language. because you, the leader, it's a singular thing. It isolates you. It just looks at you. Leadership is something very different. It emanates out of you, but it's more than just you walking in a building. Leadership means we're talking about everything that's impacted by your presence, right? So, for example, your teacher's coming into the building, signing in the morning. What that system looks like, that procedure, that process looks like, that's your leadership. The way a class lines up at the door, yeah, the teacher has a say in that, but if it's school-wide, it's leadership because there's continuity across the building. That matters. And I can go on and on. So I'm just making this distinction because that distinction is very significant between leader and leadership. And you know my cliche, I want to see the leadership without having to see the leader. I have a whole presentation, and that's the title. I want to be able to see the leadership without having to see the leader. Hey, leader, go to the conference on the other side of the country, and then let me come to your school and spend a few days. I want to see your leadership while you across the country at a conference. That matters. See, that matters. Let's go. I got a lot to cover, y'all. Y'all got time, man? Y'all got time? Hang on here with me. Hang on here with me. Were the academic expectations for my students high, and were they clear to each of them? Now, one could say, come on, man, the academic expectations high. That's of course, that's obvious, but it's also cliche. But that's why I got that second part. And were they clear to each of them? See, that's where it gets real fuzzy. That's where it gets real foggy, because we can talk about high standards, high expectations, but then you start surveying staff and students, and you find that there's variation. See, because the clarity is not there. There's got to be clarity there. That when we talk about high expectations, everybody understands what that means, what that is, what that looks like. The standards are high, the expectations are high, but they're realistic, right? I also understand equitable expectations, right? Equitable standards. I understand that as well. But in this particular bullet point, I'm focused on the aggregate of the school, right? I'm not disaggregating this in terms of being equitable. I'm just talking about as a school, because make no mistake about it, this is the competitive nature in me now, and which I think a lot of my colleagues in this world share. Make no mistake about it, and it ain't no shame in my game, that if I'm principal, I'm aiming to be the top school. I am. I'm aiming to be the highest performing school. Make no mistake about it, right? I'm not satisfied with coming in second, because that means that there was margin for improvement. So I'm striving to be up here, but then let me just pretend here is here, so I can get on the camera. So let's say that's way up there, but then there's still margin, even though we top. You understand? So I'm saying here, are the expectations clear? How did I make them clear? Let me tell you. I brought that school student body to the auditorium or the gym consistently. How often? Every first day of the month. They are mine. That entire school was my classroom. Every first day of the month. And that's not to disregard my morning message, but that's short. I'm talking about where I have put no time limit on how much time I'm going to spend talking to my school about things that are important. So now a part of that conversation is reminding them what the expectations are for this school, for each and every one of you, so that we are absolutely clear that our principal said we are expected to be gold star. And then on the walls of the school, throughout the hallways, that it's reinforced in writing. I don't mean paragraphs that they're not going to read. I mean, just like if the state said we have to be at 75% in math, then I would always go 10 points higher and say, and have a big 85 all over the building. All over the building, you would see that number. No one would know what it meant outside of the school, but when you ask any youngster, any staff member, what is that? Well, he's got like 1,085,000 in here. What do they mean? And the students will tell you, oh, that means that we expected to be at 85% proficiency. And then at some point, I decided I can't deal with these numbers where percentages which are less than 100. So I put 100% all over the building. And guess what? We met it. We met it. It's all doable. It's all possible. Let's go. Next one. Where are we at? Let me mute you for a hot second. All right, I'm back, y'all. You know, I'm at home, so real life is happening. All right, here we go. So number 5. Were the academic expectations for my students high? And were they clear to each of them? Is that what I just read? What the academic? No, I've read that one. Let's next one. Did my staff understand and buy into the mission of my school? Once again, did my staff understand and buy into the mission of my school? Now, let me say this to you, because we're talking about midsummer reflection. I want you to think about the mission of your school. How significant was the mission to your forward progress, right? Was it like a separate document over here, and then we doing school over here? Right? Was the mission here, school here, and there's this gulf in between? Or was there a marriage between the mission, and I'll even add, I'll get ahead of myself, and the vision and the school, right? Was there a marriage? Because if they're separate, then that mission statement is a waste of your time. It's like, why have it? It's an exercise in futility. You cannot have a mission and then it's not an inherent part of your school. In fact, that mission is the foundation of the school. It's who you are and what you're about. That's the way I define it. Who you are as a school and what you're about as a school. So the only way, hear me well, put your ear to your speaker. The only way that your staff is really going to buy in. Let me mute you one more time, y'all. All right, I'm sorry, y'all. Where we at? Okay. Did my staff understand and buy into the mission of my school? So here's where I was going with that. The only way the staff is gonna buy, there's 2 ways that your staff's gonna buy in. The first way is kind of unrealistic, but I'm gonna give it to you kind of facetiously. The first way is your staff is in love with you. Like they just love you to death. Every staff person in that building will run through a brick wall for you. Okay, you got buy-in. But now how realistic is that? We all have some staff, different sizes, depending on who you are, of people who just, they love you. They run through a brick wall for you. But then on that same staff, some folks is like, when is this guy going to leave? When is she going to leave? I don't like working for this person, and then everything in between. So let's rule that one out. Here's the one. You want full buy-in of the mission and the vision? Allow staff to participate in its development. So like, let's say, for example, one of you at the home, you home at the crib, or you're in your lab, meaning your office, and you spend a portion of the summer like writing up this mission, like, and you revising and you editing, like we said earlier, right? And so about your data. So you're revising and you're editing, and then you finally come up with you have some other eyes look at it, and then you come up with the perfect mission statement, the perfect vision statement. And now staff comes back first day and you hand it out to everybody. Let me tell you something. unless that staff loves you to death and will run through a brick concrete wall for you, you wasted your summer writing that thing. No, what you're going to do is when they come back, you're going to carve out some time. Let's talk about the mission. Let's look at our current mission, and let's determine if this mission is relevant to who we are today and where we're going, right? Or do we need to devise a new one? So in doing so, now you're giving the entire staff an opportunity to contribute. So you can put some chart paper on your various portions of the wall, all over the walls, and we start brainstorming. We spend some time. I mean, this is worthy of your time, right? So we start brainstorming, and they come. So this group, this maybe by grade level, maybe by subject area, whatever it is, and they're writing what they think needs to be in it. They're not writing a statement; they're just writing what needs to be in it. Another group writing what they need to be in. So then, all right, there's probably some overlap, and now we bring it together into this document, and ultimately we craft our statement. And that staff could sit there saying, "I had an opportunity. I'm a part of this process. I'm a part of that statement." The level of buy-in increases because you gave them that opportunity versus administration hands them a mission statement and says, "This is our mission. I expect you to be compliant with it." That mess don't work, man. It doesn't work, right? And y'all forgive me for not like putting all your comments out. I'm one person. How you expect me to deliver my message, keep those bullet points up, those questions up, read the comment, post the comment? I need an engineer. I got to do like Sheikah and Tammy. They got somebody behind the scenes that does it for them, right? I'll get there, Sheikah. I'm so old school on everything. I still haven't experimented with A1. I called it A1 like that secretary, that education secretary, because when she said it, it locked in my head. AI. So I need to elevate my game. I probably need to sit in your seminar and learn AI as it relates to school, because I'm so old school on a lot of things. I'm new school on some things, but I'm old school on some things too, right? But when that woman said A1, that thing stayed with me, man. She corrupted me. So every time I see AI, I think of her, right? So anyway, that's for how y'all feeling this morning. That's for like 11 o'clock. Let me get back on course. Next one. Did my staff understand and buy into the vision of my school? So same thing. I don't need to go through that. Same thing I said as it relates to the mission of the school. So let's go on to number 8. Were the mission and vision integral aspects of my school? Ooh, you got to be so honest with yourselves, y'all. You got to be honest with yourselves. Hit that share button, retweet, repost, tag somebody, text somebody, call somebody, scream upstairs at somebody, whatever it is. Let them know we're here. Listen, y'all. Were the mission and vision integral aspects of my school? Ooh. Again, they can't be over here while y'all are doing school over here. This thing called mission and vision has to be your floor, your foundation, your bedrock. That's what it's got to be. This is who we are. This is what we stand on. You look at corporations, Fortune 500s, you look at pro sports teams, they all have a foundation that they stand on. Like this is who we are. This is what we're about. Well, if you and I had a conversation, I would ask you, hey, principal, hey, assistant principal, hey, aspiring principal. I was talking to a superintendent yesterday via text because I'm going to be going to this person's district. And the person said to me, they wanted me to let them know that the URL for the AP and New Principals Academy on YouTube. And I said, no, I want you to keep something in mind. It's called AP and New Principals Academy, but it's not just for the AP and New Principal. It's for the Secretary of Education, the state commissioners of education, the superintendent of schools, the assistant superintendents, the rest of central office, the principal, the assistant principal, the aspiring principal, and the classroom teacher. Right? We just put a spotlight on the AP and new principal. But don't, if somebody out there is like someone tells you about, don't think this is not for you. If education, the word education is attached to your university professors, deans, the department heads, I don't care who you are. Because if you're a professor, yeah, like everybody, Sheikah, because if you're a professor and you training folks to be principal, but then they're gonna walk into an AP position. Imagine that. When you were in grad school, they're training you to be a principal, but you might be an AP for 10 years, and none of that stuff that you learned, you're able to utilize depending on the principal. That's why I say something like this is so important, because we covering all bases. See, it's for everybody or everybody, right? So here we go. So that mission and that vision, that's your base. So I'm asking somebody out there, talk to me. Be honest. Put it right in the comments, which I'm pointing at like as if y'all see them, right? Right in the comments. Dr. Jackson said, unfortunately, for many schools, the foundation is built on quicksand. There it is. There it is. That's the point. That's the point. So now we're sinking instead of standing on something firm that we can build upon. See, build upon. So I'm asking you, were you standing upon while simultaneously rooted in, grounded in, planted in a mission and a vision that can sustain you throughout the course of a school year? That mission may be revised going into a next year. You don't want to keep changing it, particularly if you're building. But life may be happening, and you want to at least revise it to make it current, to make it relevant to the prevailing year that you're in. So just keep that in mind. Let's go, y'all. I got a lot to go. I got a lot here. Number 9. How was staff morale under your leadership? Man, I know I've been saying this a lot. I got to keep saying it. These are all separate topics, and I'm probably going to treat them as separate topics, later on. Probably bring some guests and we just talk about staff morale and all the other things, right? But for now, I'm asking you, how was staff morale under your leadership? And I should have put in capital letters, under your leadership, under my leadership, how was staff morale? So were there disgruntled people in the building? Were there people who were going against the grain? Were there people that really don't want to work there anymore? Were there people that don't want to be educators anymore? Were there people that you sense really don't like you, really not feeling you? And I could go on and on with the brainstorm in terms of what makes somebody disgruntled. But you notice the last part of the question, under my leadership. So if you've got disgruntled people, the easy, convenient thing to do and to say is, that's them. They've been here too long, or they just want to go against the grain. They're not team. They're not team members, right? All those kinds of things, right? But those 3 words are at the end. Under my leadership. Those are at the end. See, so now you got to look at you, and you got to ask yourself, what is it about my leadership that I have disgruntled staff members? Because remember, I make reference to young Principal Kafele all the time. Imagine young Principal Kafele, that struggling young man in high school. Imagine young Principal Kafele is reporting to a disgruntled teacher every day. In fact, in hindsight, I never said this before. I'm saying it for the first time right now. Maybe I was reporting to disgruntled teachers. Maybe that was my problem. Who knows? We'll never know. But I'm saying to you, if you've got disgruntled teachers, have you exhausted all options beyond trying to get them out? Have you exhausted all options to win folks over. Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't have time to talk about this right here. I'll do it when I make this a topic or a subtopic. I had disgruntled people that did not like me. I knew that. You know, you can read somebody and know they can't stand you. You know that. You know, or you know that you bring in a certain expectation and standard, and you know that they haven't been living up to it thus far. Now here you are, the new principal in the building, and you up here like you preaching the sermon that we're going to achieve the impossible. And this person is thinking what you're saying is impossible. So you in opposite sides of the spectrum. Let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna look right at you too on this one. I've changed them people. I know I did. I changed those folks. They changed. Their outlook changed. Their demeanor changed. Their posture changed. Their appearance changed. Their attire changed. Their eyes changed. They got wider, right? They changed because I had the people skills to change them. See, notice the word. I didn't say power. I bet you somebody thought because I had the power to change. Nah. Where's the book at? I always keep it close to the vest. Here it is. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If you haven't read that yet, oh man, it's time. It was written in 1936, but it's time. It's time. Notice I'm not pulling off the shelf to get to this book. I keep this one close because this is so important for leaders. How to Win Friends and Influence People. You go to Amazon right now and get yourself a copy. So morale, you need, if we're really serious about the young principal Kafeles of your school coming into your school and motivated and ready to go to heights previously unimagined, then you need a staff whose morale, like, ooh, we want this. We fired up. Ooh, the summer is too long. I'm ready to get back in there. So if your school opens up, like if you're in the Jersey area and your school opens up in September, right? Like you calling me in like August 1st, Kafele, this is real now. This ain't like me speculating. Kafele, can I come in and start setting up my class? See, they hungry, man. The morale, they like, I don't need no 2 months off. They call me. I'm like, come on, Miss So-and-so. We ain't waxed the floors yet, right? We used the school for summer school, man. So we couldn't wax. We got to wax the floors. We got a lot of custodial work to do. But Kafele, I got to get in there. So I tell the custodian, I could get her hallway and get her room, right? Because she got to get in here. And then others she tell somebody. So then others are coming, right? So we work with them because I don't want to douse that fire, right? So we work with them. But I wish it was one of my old teachers on here right here. They tell you I'm not lying. I ain't making up stuff to sound good. They calling me August 1st. Like, can I get in there? We don't start till September 2nd, the day after Labor Day, or September 3rd or September 7th. Depends on what day it falls. But you got some hungry people, man. That's what you want for all your staff. That morale is high. We ready. Let's go. But your leadership, you got to build that. She said the district would say no. I let mine in early. Don't y'all post no pictures or tell nobody. That's me too, Sheikah. That was me too. You better not tell nobody, right? And then I tell my custodian, don't report this, right? We trying to elevate them young principal Kafeles, right? So let's go. I got another one, man, and then I'm gonna switch over to the parents in a little while, y'all. Stay with me. Y'all ain't got nothing to do right now. Stay with me. Matter of fact, get somebody else on here to join me. Hit that share button, retweet, repost, call somebody, tag somebody, hit them Facebook leadership groups up. Let them know. And by the way, make sure that YouTube folks, make sure that you're sharing from YouTube as well and hit that subscribe button. We have 24,000 subscribers, but I'm trying to get to 25,000. Let's go. Number 10, in what ways did my leadership positively impact staff morale? So what I did, I kind of combined the two. The first one, how was my staff morale under my leadership, and then how that impacted. So in terms of what I did not say with that, I'm saying to you, you got to read the room, man. You got to know your staff. And you got to know how to deal with each staff member individually because they're not the same, right? So your staff has different needs, right? And then you got to find ways to keep your own morale high. Hopefully your superintendent is watching, and your superintendent or your assistant superintendent understands that they have a job to do as well toward making sure that the principal's morale is sky high, despite the fact that so many of them are working 60, 70, 80, 90-hour weeks, right? So that's critical. But in terms of you, I mean, you're creating this environment, this educational environment that is so positive. It's a lot of fun just to be there. You know, you're working with kids. This is a whole lecture. I'm fighting with myself to keep it brief. I don't know how to keep this one brief. So I just want you to reflect on that. I guess a lot of what we've done over the past 271 weeks speaks to that number 10, but we'll revisit it because there's just so much more to say there. Let me keep going. Number 11. Am I satisfied with the morale amongst my staff, and in what ways can my leadership improve it? So these are kind of that numbers, that number 9, 10, and 11, they're kind of linked together, and I've been overlapping in my explanation, so I don't really need to say much about that. But again, I'll repeat it though. Am I satisfied? And that's the key. That's the word. Those are the 3 words that distinguish this one from the previous 2. Am I satisfied with the morale amongst my staff? And in what ways can my leadership improve it? See, so you look at your staff and you ask yourself, like, is this good? Am I fine with this? Is the morale of my staff where I need it to be? Or are there things I need to be doing? Right. And I'll just say for now, go back and review them 270 past sessions that we've done. And there's a whole lot there as it relates to how you boost the morale of staff, right? Let me go to the last one, number 12, and then we switch over to parents. Under what indicators would I consider that my leadership made my school a better school this year than we were last year? It's funny, like it's when you prepare these, you feel like you could whiz through them. But then when you got them live and you reading them live, it's like, man, these 12 are separate presentations. Like this number 12, under what indicators, just that part alone, because now we're talking multiple indicators, would I consider that my leadership made my school a better school this year than we were last year? So now what that's asking of you, look at those indicators that you and list them, like write them, type them, whatever, however you record information, and ask yourself, what were the indicators that made us better? And what were the so that's one question, separate question. Then there's another question over here that's implied. What were the indicators that did not make us better? Right? But yet they were relevant indicators. You may want to write those because those indicators you didn't grow. Those indicators were not beneficial or assets to the growth of your school. So you got, on the one hand, these indicators, in fact, made us a better school, but these indicators did not. So as much as we were better this year, we could have been this much better had these other indicators been just as beneficial and useful as these indicators. Am I making sense to you? Right? So that's like 2 different categories of indicators. Under what indicators would I consider that my leadership made my school a better school this year than we were last year? Whew. It's a lot there, y'all. Let me, before I switch over into parents, let me holler at the assistant principals who are on here right now. And when I say on here right now, the bulk of our views are not the live views. The bulk of our views have always been the recording, right? So the folks who will watch the recording later on, later today, tomorrow, Sunday, whatever it is. The APs out there. Let me holler at you because, you know, the name of this platform begins AP before we get to new principal, right? Hey, AP, although it's easy to assume that we're talking to principals, we're talking to you too. Like in your role as AP, whatever that may look like, because it looks different probably in every school in America. right? But whatever your role is in your school, under what indicator, AP, would you consider that your leadership made your school a better school than it was last year, assuming you were there for at least 2 years? That's not just a principal question. Neither were the previous 11. You got to look at you. Now, let's say that you've been relegated to, the stereotype. You do a lot of discipline. You do a lot of cafeteria duty, right? You do a lot of bus duty, all that kind of stuff. Okay, fine. Let's start there. That's our base. Given what you do, under what indicators was your school a better school, or at least the teachers that you supervise that much more effective and efficient than they were the year before? This question is not just for the principal. This question is for you. So all these questions apply to you. But this one really caught my attention as it relates to who you are as an assistant principal. Because every assistant principal, we know this, does not aspire to become a principal. Some assistant principals are very content. I meet them every place I go. There are people in the room, because I'll ask, who's the aspiring principals? Like I say, who are the assistant principals? They all put their hands up. Who are the aspiring principals? And I know some with politics, they just don't want to put themselves out there, so they'll keep their hand down. But others, they'll talk to me privately. I don't want to be no principal. Man, I see my principal. I don't want that burden, right? I'm very content at number 2, they'll say. Okay. So therefore, AP, under what indicator would you indicators, plural, would you consider that your leadership made your school a better school than it was? Let's say that you said, hey, Kafele, that's a good question. I don't know. So now you got to sit in your quiet time and brainstorm. And maybe if you don't know, maybe you had no indicators it made your school better. So now you got work to do. That's that checklist that Sean Hurt was talking about. Now you got work to do. And then I'm going to put it into a structured plan the next first Saturday, the first Saturday in August. But in the meantime, you need to be setting up so that when I give you the plan, you're ready to plug in. That matters. All right. So enough said there. Let's go to the parents. I got 12. Let me try to go quick. What time is it? 12:30. We be done by 1, but I'm gonna try to be finished before then. Check this out, y'all. In what ways did parental engagement reflect my leadership? So let's say that you considered your leadership to be effective this past school year, right? You said, no, we were good. My leadership was sound. That's how you feel about your leadership. You got people around you who said you did a good job this year. Your evaluation was good. Your superintendent said you did great. You did great. Your assistant superintendent said you did great. All that stuff, right? Okay, so now let's go to the question. In what ways did parental engagement reflect your effectiveness? So in other words, was parental engagement just as effective as you feel your overall leadership was? That's what I'm asking. See, or on the opposite side of the spectrum, as I keep saying all throughout this session, were you good in terms of the building, but perhaps lacking relative to the parents, right? Well, I got the mirror up, because here's the translation. If you were good relative to the building, but lacking relative to parents, that means you weren't as good as you could have been. That's what it means. Because had you had the parents engaged, your good over here would have been gooder, right? To make up a word, gooder. So it would have been better. It would have been that much more effective because you had parents rocking with you. You had parents on board. You had parents engaged in the school, but you had parents engaged at home at the same time. So when we talk about the totality of your leadership being on point, parents got to be a part of your leadership, right? And again, I'm gonna make that distinction again between leader and leadership, because see, you could be leader. Let's take this question, but instead of leadership, in what ways did parental engagement reflect me as a leader? So now you're outside in the morning. You greet children as they come in, But you see the parents as they walk their students or as they drive their students and they're sitting in the car, and you go and talk to them right quick. Hey, parent, how you doing? Glad to see you, that type of thing, right? Well, if that's the extent of it, what happens is parent has a good feel about you because you're friendly, you're cordial, you're visible, they see you, they you talk to them, they talk to you. So they like the leader. They say nice things about the leader when they're away from the school. My daughter's principal is great. My son's principal is top notch, right? He's always visible. She's always present. He's always got something nice to say, right? She's always got good advice, right? So they like you as the leader, but that doesn't necessarily translate into leadership. That's the point. See, you as the human being, I mean, that's good that they like and respect you, appreciate you, love you, all that. But now, what is your leadership doing to help them to be that much more of an asset to the school and their children? Leadership. So that now, when you see the parent in two places, when you know the parent is taking care of business at home because of what you've shared, how you've played your role in growing them, that's your leadership in their home. I pause on that one because y'all ain't hear that part. I'm gonna say it again. That's your leadership miles away in their home, with them on vacation, with them at the mall, with them at the relative's house, with them at the 4th of July cookout yesterday, right? That's your leadership coming along with them. Do you hear me? But if it's just about the short chit chat, okay, I like the principal. He's a good guy. I like the principal. She's a great woman. That's not enough. But now let's look at it another way. The parent is engaged with the school, doing things beyond anything you've ever asked parent to do. See, that's leadership. I like how Dr. Joe Griffin worded this. He said your implementations and strategies have to match or surpass your charisma. See, I thank you, Dr. Joe. That's I like that. So now you cause see, you and I could be charismatic. So they see that. Ooh, I like him, man. He's funny. He made me laugh in the morning, right? That type of thing, right? But okay, but that's not necessarily translating into leadership. It's just making you stand out as a very likable leader. Likable leader is good, but it ain't great. It's that leadership that's impacting parents that's great. There's a difference. Enough said. Let's go. I got another one. Y'all keep leaving me them comments. Number 14, am I satisfied with our level of parental engagement this year? So in 13, I said, in what ways did parental engagement reflect my leadership? But now I'm asking you, are you satisfied with your level of parental engagement this year? So let's put the mirror up. You satisfied? Hey, Josh, if you're still there, it's dusty as all. I'm almost like getting ready to use a curse. It's real dusty, right? All right. So here we go. So I'm asking, am I satisfied? What's your level of satisfaction? If you're one that you could have the meat, you know how like sometime at the 4th of July cookout, if there's some other educators in the backyard, it's easy to start gravitating into the education conversation. I'm so glad that there were no educators in the backyard yesterday, so I don't have to talk education because I'm on an 8-day vacation. I really don't want to talk this except for right now on my Saturday Academy, which I beloved, right? So what I'm saying here is it would be very easy to slip into this conversation, and it'd be very easy to, man, if only we had the parents involved. If only we could get the parents to understand the significance of their children's education in our school, all that kind of talk, right? Well, this question is saying, what ways did wrong one. And what am I satisfied with our level of parental engagement? So let's say that you're one that said, I'm not satisfied. Okay. What is it about your leadership that's increasing your level of satisfaction of parental engagement in your school? That's what this is all about. Your leadership as it relates to parental engagement. So therefore, there may be things you need to do. Man, y'all wait till the first Saturday in August when I give you that blueprint, because then I'm gonna give you, don't sign off early, right? I'm gonna give you an assignment. So I need y'all to stay here. I got an assignment for you. I'm gonna write down that I gave you this assignment, because I'm gonna want you to do something with the assignment in the first Saturday of August. And that date, since I keep saying it, the first Saturday of August is August 2nd. So on August 2nd, I got something I want you to do. So don't leave yet. Let me exhaust these, because I got an assignment for you. So let's go. Number 15. What will I do differently or better toward increasing parental engagement next year? So let's say that you did a lot to get parents involved and engaged, but it wasn't where you want it to be. Well, you can't do the same thing next year. That's what they call insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So what will you do differently? Jot that down. And then I'm going to tell you what I want you to do with it next year. I mean, next first Saturday, August 2nd. What will I do differently? Let's keep going. What is it about my school? Ooh, this is a big one before I even finish it. What is it about my school that attracted our parents to it? Ooh, that's another one of them pauses. What is it about my school that attracted our parents to it? So in other words, is your school a magnet for parents? See, is it a magnet? There's something about your school, and I'm going to add something about your leadership. I'm going to say it again. Something about your leadership. I didn't say something about you. I didn't say it. I could, but I choose not to. Something about your leadership. Here come the parents. It's a magnet. Because your school under your leadership has this gravitational pull to it, this gravitational pull about it, that we want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of that. We want to be a part of that. Yeah, see, you got that gravitational pull. They want to be a part of what you do. Yeah, I think I got it a little bit, Josh, little something. See, it sits here all week and collects dust. So what is it about my school that attracted our parents to it? So part of your summer brainstorm, your midsummer reflections assessment that we're doing today, is you're asking yourself, what is it about my school that attracted parents? Let's say that somebody said, we didn't attract parents here. All right. Well, then what do you need to do differently that attracts parents to your school? Because you need them. Right. So let's say that there's somebody out in the StreamYard verse, and you say, but them parents we got, I don't want them parents in my school. Right. That mindset's out there somewhere. It ain't here, but it's out there somewhere. We don't want them in my school. Right. Let me tell you something. See, if that's your mindset, if that's your attitude, that means you have some training to do. If you're that turned off by parents, that means that parents are not bringing the right stuff. So now there's need for some collaboration, and you have to have the audacity, because I did this, to set up those classes to literally teach and train parents their roles and some things that we may not want them to do. I'll give you an extreme example. Hey, Dad, I love that you drop your child off in the morning to the school. But there's a problem. They're twofold. Number one, when you open the door, a huge cloud of smoke comes out as your child is coming out. That's number one. Number two, I can hear the music when you're 3 blocks away. I know you're coming. Those are major. But if you're a leader, but you don't have the courage nor the spine to engage parent in that conversation, guess what's never going to end? That child comes to school with a contact high and listening to some of the most diabolical lyrics that one could hear on their way to school. I'm gonna get my book again. I didn't write this. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. You got to know how to talk to people. So let's add a layer to what I just said: the smoke, the music. Maybe parent, and I'm just keeping it real, y'all. Maybe parent kind of looks hardcore, like mean, like vicious, like I ain't stepping to him. Look, y'all, then why are you in the position? Why are you in it? I've said it before. I've had children in my school who the parent was the OG. I'm trying to curb a gang problem in the school, and the parent is the OG of the whole hood. I had to confront that. So if we're afraid to approach, I mean, that is the parent. And if you at an elementary school and that kid gonna be with you pre-K all the way to 5, and that's the parent, you scared? Then that child might be doomed for one singular reason, not because of the parent, but because you as the principal did not have the audacity to speak to that parent and provide a structure for correction. It matters. It's part of principal leadership. But guess what? They don't give you that in grad school. You don't get this in grad school. Let me tell you where you do get it. You get it at the AP and New Principals Academy, right? You whatever you need, you get it here. Whether it be me or my guest, you're going to get it here. And I'm going to tell you something else. I noticed some of my comments on this platform might be costing me some business. But guess what? Like I said in the beginning, I'm good with it. I'm good with it. This platform is designed to keep it real, as real as possible, right? So I'm saying all that to say this. That parent I just described, yeah. Thank you, Marcus, because I forgot that part. So Marcus said you can't serve the hood and be afraid of the hood. So in other words, listen, y'all. If you're afraid of that parent, and subsequently afraid of that youngster, guess what? You're afraid of the community that produced that youngster. And now let's flip it. If you're afraid of the community that produced the youngster and the household, then you're afraid of that youngster. It's not going to work. So find an environment where you're not afraid of people. Because that environment that I just described, where that father or mother, I just said father, but it could be mother, driving that youngster to school, they open the door and poof, all that smoke coming out, man. I never saw that as a principal. Let me tell you where I saw it. Because see, I think I earned the respect. We ain't doing that around him. Our kid ain't coming in this building smelling like no weed. That was never my experience. Let me tell you where it was my experience. When I'm consulting out in the field. That was my intro to it as a consultant, not as a principal. Because I presented myself in a way, parents, that we ain't playing with Kafele like that. It wasn't like I was going to punish anybody. It was just that we ain't playing with him like that. Right? The OG thing, that was a different story, right? But I confronted it. But I'm saying in terms of the smoke, the music from way around the corner, 3 blocks away. That's me as a consultant outside with the principal. I'm like, man, I hear that car. That car ain't nowhere near, because I could tell it's far off, but it's coming. It's coming. Now a young little girl get out the car. Poof. Man, she got to be high. That's where that's at. Yeah, man. So what you gonna do? So the father looking like kind of rough, I ain't gonna describe it. Just, I ain't messing with him. I ain't messing with her. No, you got to mess with him. You got to mess with her. But read this first. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, right? Read that first. Then confront, right? Because you got to bring your people skills. Because that parent could be angry. That parent could be someone who, in his mind, in her mind, this freaking school, not your school, just school, failed me. I'm living this hard life because school failed me. So I have no faith in it for my daughter, for my son. That could be that's a real mindset, somebody. So therefore, you got to be ready for that. And you got to bring receipts to show. That might be your reality. But this school, we doing magic in here. This is a different place, right? So, yeah, Stacy said the smoky car is a big issue at my elementary school's morning valet. Yeah, man, it's real. We got to step to it. That's part of leadership, but they're not going to give you that in grad school, but you get it at the AP and New Principals Academy. Let's go. I'm almost done, y'all. Let's go. Number 17. Was my school a welcoming environment for our parents? So you remember earlier, about an hour ago, I asked, was it a welcome environment for the student? But what about the parent? I had a parent coordinator, the A+ top notch, Dolores Wallace, when I was in East Orange, New Jersey. And then when I left to go to Newark, Essex County, I took her with me because she created that environment. I didn't have, how when leadership, when you got the right people. So leadership was me bringing her, not one of the thing where I'm leaving to go to another district. Okay, Ms. Wallace, nice knowing you. No, Ms. Wallace, pack up. We going to another district together. Okay, see, that's leadership. You're going to bring your assets with you, right? She ain't the only one I brought, right? So you're going to bring your assets with you. So now you go to that school, you had superstars at your school. All right, y'all, pack up. We taking this show on the road. We going somewhere where we are not known, right? That's how you do that, right? I see that Sheikah culture walk, include parents on it. There you go. So that's how. So now I got this top-notch parent coordinator, superior, and we're sustaining what we did in the previous district, but at the high school level, because I was middle school before I left. That's important, right? Let me keep moving. Well, let me just say, parents got to feel welcome in your school. It doesn't mean they're going to come in and take over your school. It doesn't mean they're going to come in anytime and try to talk to you, because you're going to set out those parameters. I've talked about that on this platform a zillion times, that you're going to have those meetings with parents where you're explaining to them that instructional time is prime time. You know how your favorite TV show comes on at 8:00 and that's prime time? Or maybe your other favorite comes on at 9 and that's prime time. And the other last favorite comes on at 10 and those are prime time on TV, 8, 9, and 10. Well, school has prime time. Prime time is when first period starts until the last period ends. That's prime time. So I can't be with you during prime time. So I had to explain that. And when I put it in the context of this is the time when we increase the probability that your child is going to be a success story. I can't be bogged down in my office, trapped in my office with you for 2-3 hours over just your one child when I got 1,000 others in the building, right? Now, if it's a thing where it's Parent needs me. I'm not talking, I'm not talking about suspension. I'm talking about parent needs my input. That's different. That's a different conversation. So I don't want to send the wrong message here. Then I'm going to make the time. But I'm talking about suspension. Let's create a school where them suspensions are minimized, right? That's what I'm saying. Because a suspension is not going to fix the behavior. The culture of the building is what's going to fix the behavior, right? The culture of the building is what's going to fix the behavior, not a suspension, not a conference in your office. That ain't changing nothing. Nada. It's when the culture, the macro shifts. And now we got something very different. Very different. Yeah. Let's go. I'm almost done, y'all. I'm almost done. I'm going to read all these comments this afternoon, y'all. I'm going to read them all. Did my staff know how to communicate effectively with our parents? Whew. Man, these are separate topics. I ain't even think about it that way when I was writing them. But this is a whole 2 hours. Because think about it, y'all. You may have read this, but what if your teacher didn't? You know how like every school has that one teacher. Some of us got more than one. That one that just doesn't know how to talk to people. Doesn't know how to talk to you, the principal. Doesn't know how to talk to your students. Doesn't know how to talk to their parents. Doesn't know how to talk to members of the community. They just mean. We all got one. I always had at least one. They just mean people. So I would have to bring them in my office, or I go to their classroom during prep or after school. Come on now. And I usually did it with a smile too. You got to bring that down. Let me help you. Right? Let me help you. Because we can't go on like this. You can't be snapping at this parent. Because one parent, I said this to a teacher, one parent is going to knock you out. I said that. I'm unorthodox. So don't use that. Don't steal that from me, right? Because I'm unorthodox. I'm my own person, right? But I said that a parent is going to come in here and knock you out. See, we got Miss Namrata. I'm gonna mess up your name, but I'm glad to read it nevertheless. Chadhari. All the way from India. That's right, baby. We ain't just in America. She yeah, my wife said welcome. She tuning in from India. We worldwide, baby. We worldwide. We've had folks from all over Africa on here, all over Europe on here, right? So I'm saying, leader, you got the part of your repertoire is ensuring that teacher knows how to talk to parents. The parents are good people, and they bring their best children to your school, their only children. But that doesn't necessarily translate into you knowing how to engage them. And I'm gonna tell you something. I told you we keep it real on this platform. We could have teacher who's from suburban. I haven't said this on this platform in a while, so let me revisit something I haven't said here in a long time. I was saying it during the pandemic, like every day. You could have parent who's suburban, but I'm sorry, teacher who's suburban. I knew that wasn't sounding right, but parent who's highly urban or rural, and let's put a race on it. And this community is predominantly African American, and the teacher is white from the suburbs, right? And the teacher, because I mean during the pandemic, I used to have we'd be on Zoom and we would have these conversations. I don't mean on this platform. I mean when I was doing all these Zoom presentations, and we would literally have conversations. And the teacher might say to me, like I'd ask probing questions, and the teacher might say to me, Principal Kafele, I've really never been in the presence of Black people outside of when I'm at a mall, a stadium, an arena, that type of thing. I don't even want to say a supermarket because they're usually supermarkets in the neighborhood, but that type of thing, right? And then they may say, and now I'm in the classroom, and all the students are black. I've never been around black people so much. And I say to them, well, guess what? Because there's a translation to that. You don't know black people because you haven't been around us to know us. Your exposure to us is media, film, news, television, videos. And then when you occasionally see us in the mall, at the stadium. So it's easy with that lack of exposure, but the kind of exposure that the media has given you to create stereotypes in your head as to who those children are in your classroom. Because all you have is stereotypes and generalizations, but you don't have conversations, real deep-rooted conversations with people that don't look like you. That's a problem. That's a problem. So now my communication could be flawed because of my exposure being so limited. So as leader, and you might be white leader, and you may not have the exposure to black people within the black community, or the Latino community, or the black and brown community. Well, then in grad school may not have prepared you for this. Well, you got homework to do. You got to know how to talk to people who don't look like you. You got to know which words and phrases are triggering so that you don't use them, right? I mean, it's a whole education. It's just like me as a speaker. When I talk to a black audience, that's a very different presentation. Like versus when I'm at, like, let me give you this example because Dr. Latson Billings is still on here, I see. Listen, there's a conference that she and I go to. The Black Male Educators Convening. She was one of the keynoters this last year. The culture in that space. I mean, you got the fraternities in there, and I'm not a frat, so I don't know the language I'm getting ready to use. But when they start chanting their stuff, right? And it's like a beautiful thing, man. The Kappas yelling their thing, the Qs yelling their thing, the Sigmas yelling their thing, the who'd I miss? The Alphas yelling their thing. And it's like a beautiful thing because culturally, right? So, but then when I go to the mainstream conference, and I don't want to say that that's just what's going on. The whole vibe is just everybody's shaking hands. Everybody's embracing one another. I go to the mainstream conference, and I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but I don't mind. I really don't mind. I go to mainstream conferences or the cruise ship, right, or the mall, and I walk past one of my brothers, meaning a black man. Chances are 99% good that person's going to know I'm there, but going to look forward to avoid speaking to me. So he'll look. I'm doing it right now. He's walking, and he'll go. I'm right here. I'm right here. Getting ready to pass him, and he'll go like this. Like looking ahead to give the impression, I don't see you, so I don't have to speak to you, right? Well, when I go to these conferences, the mainstream ones, it's the same thing. Unless it's somebody black that like, no, that's Principal Kafele, so I'll get a pass. Hey, Principal Kafele. But the ones that don't know me, they be here. They walking. I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm getting ready to pass you, and I'm looking at you. I'm trying to like establish eye contact so I can say, hey, what's up? Because we in the minority here. Let's embrace one another. We educators. We got that in common. Here they go. You don't even want to look at me. So I put them on the spot. Good morning. Oh, right. But when you go to that Black Male Educators Convening, just to use that as an example, you ain't got to do that, man. As soon as they know you there, they coming up on you, man. And everybody in it don't know Principal Kafele. A lot of them do, but not everyone. The younger ones don't know me. The older ones do. So the younger ones, they but it don't matter. They see us a black man. So they speak, and they ain't trying to walk like pretend. Let me just walk straight, and that way I don't have to speak to them. That's real. So why do I bring this up? Because in the classroom, there's such cultural differences. Yeah, I mean, hey Doc, Dr. Ladson Billings, the head nod is where it's at. And but if you ain't looking at me, I can't give you the head nod. I don't want to have a conversation with you. Like if I'm on the street, I'm not trying to have a conversation. I just want to do a head nod because, as you know, Dr. Billings, the head nod is saying, I got you. That's what it means. It's like, I see you, I got you. That's what's happening. So when we pass each other without speaking, we look at each other. That means I see you and I got you. Now we move on. We'll never know each other. But when I'm walking past somebody, you won't even look at me to give you the head nod. Like you here. Like you in a zone. I'm like, yo, come on, man. We brothers. What are we doing here? That's my mindset. Somebody in here said, man, he went off on a tangent. I bet you somebody said that. But I said it. Peace. My wife said, she said it, right? So but anyway, let me close that part. I got two more. Let me close that part by saying this. If you one of my brothers out here, and I'm gonna add something, if you one of my sisters out here, don't be walking past me like you don't see me. Like all it is, like Dr. Ladson Billings just said, just that's it, y'all. It's just a head nod. Let's acknowledge we're here. That matters. If I got into why, then I'd be very political, and it's too late in the game right now for me to get that way. So let me keep my focus, right? Let me keep my focus. Now my non-black brothers and sisters out there who are like, what in the world? Listen, y'all, that's where I don't want to get political right now. We're not saying we don't speak outside of the race, but within, we are family. And we got to act like we are. That's all I'm saying. So I don't want people to feel excluded on here, right? But that's a conversation. It's an in-house conversation. I ain't trying to have it publicly, but it's but again, when you see me, just give me a head nod. If you know who I am, then just like I ain't going to get into it. People be walking by me when I'm eating or something, and they be like, and then they come and say something to me later. I'm like, why you ain't talk to me the first time since you knew who I am? Why I ain't want to disturb you? Hey, y'all, let me tell y'all something right now. If you see me in a restaurant somewhere, right, I'm giving you my permission right now. Disturb me. If you see me in a restaurant, me and my wife sitting at the table and I'm eating, or if you see me when I'm on the road and I'm sitting at the table by myself, I'm giving you permission. Come to the table, say, hey, Principal Kafele, right? And whatever you want to say. I ain't one of them people that's like, I'm out, don't bother me. I'm not him. If you see me out, I'm at dinner at a restaurant, come to that table and say hi. You have my permission. Enough said. Let's go. I'll tell you, we keep it real on this piece, man. Did my staff know how to communicate effectively with our parents? So we got to make sure that we teach. Now, wait, let me, you call that Dr. Ladson Billings. I know I keep, hey, y'all, don't, and I know y'all saying, how come you ain't quoting me? Man, we got Gloria Ladson Billings on here, man. We got Dr. Gloria Ladson Billings, man. You don't ignore that. You just don't, right? Now, if you sitting here and you don't know who she is, that wrote Dream Keepers and so many other books, matter of fact, man, I would have to disrupt to pull these books down. Let me not do it. Can I pull something down without disrupting all this? Can I get something? All right, look, I got one thing. I'll at least pull this one, right? So culturally relevant pedagogy. She got 1 million books out. Gloria Ladson Bill. It's more up here, but I would have to disrupt stuff. They're behind things and all that stuff. But here's one of them, right? So when Dr. Ladson Billings shows up, I can't pretend she's not there, right? So I gotta say something, right? Where's that other one you had? Real quick, man. You said teacher preparation is remiss in helping teachers communicate and interact with adults. Let's see it. I put it right here on the screen. Teacher preparation is remiss if helping teachers communicate and interact. Wait, let me read it right. Teacher preparation is remiss in helping teachers communicate and interact with adults. And by the way, y'all, let me drop some history on you right quick, just a second, because I'm gonna finish up. You see Dr. Ladson Billings' profile pic. That's not her now. Somebody do me a solid. I don't want to tell you who that is in that profile pic. Somebody quickly write in the comments whose picture that is. Don't do no kind of facial recognition search. Just whose picture is that in the comments real quick. It's not her, by the way, right? Whose picture is that? Thank you, Constance. I mean, I'm gonna give you credit, right? Because you're close. So I'm gonna give you the credit. Matter of fact, okay, there we go. JS gave me the exact. So that's Fannie Lou Hamer, right? You got it. You got to know Fannie. If you don't know Fannie Lou Hamer, I don't care what race you are. If you don't know Fannie Lou Hamer, let's add that as one of your homework assignments, right? You got to know Fannie Lou Hamer, right? Out of Mississippi, right? I go to her every time I'm in the Mississippi Delta. I go to her gravesite. Right, I go to her gravesite. Then I drive over to Money, Mississippi, where Emmett Till allegedly whistled at the woman in the store, and the structure is still there. So if you can go to YouTube, I mean not YouTube, you can go to Facebook, and you'll see I did a Facebook Live in front of the structure explaining that history. Put my life at risk doing that because there's a sign over at the Tallahatchie River where they tossed his body into the river. They shoot the sign up every year to this day. So you figure he was murdered in 1955. To this day, 2025, they still shoot up the sign. So I went and stood in front of Bryant's Grocery. The store is not there anymore, but the structure of the store, it eroded, but they kept the structure there. For whatever the reason, I can't imagine why. I was told they were going to turn it into a museum, but the structure is there. I stood in front of that place for about 45 minutes and did a Facebook Live explaining what it was, putting my life at risk, made my wife very unhappy that I did it, but I needed it on footage. If you go to Facebook and go to my videos, you'll see it and you can watch it and you'll see me standing in front of that store, right? So enough said there. Let's go, y'all. I'm almost done. I guess y'all said this a different day. He all over the place today, man. So number 19, did I read 18? Yeah. Number 19, what role did I play? Oh, that ain't the other one that I made upset. My mother was upset too. She's on here right now. She always on here. What role did I play toward ensuring that my staff understood our parents? Right? Again, under my leadership, what role did I play toward ensuring that my staff understood our parents? Because see, parents could be existing in a world that is very different, radically different, dramatically different from the world of the teachers, right? And I might add, you could be of the same race as the parents and still miss one another, right? No connection being made because you're so disconnected, detached from one another culturally, right? Economically. Because we've all probably brought in teachers. We know that Black men comprise about 1.3% of the total teaching population. So we're out here desperately looking for Black men. Then in some cases, and I've been one of them, they brought in a Black man that was not open was not receptive to any kind of training, to any kind of getting better, and ultimately I had to say goodbye, right? So this person, he was Black. He Black male, wanted him in there for my Black boys in particular, but I want my girls to see this positive Black man. But they couldn't relate to him, and he couldn't relate to them. And I'm trying to train, and it just wasn't happening. So over time, I said, this ain't working, man. You got to go. I got to find somebody that can come in here and be receptive to some teaching, from me. Or from whomever, as opposed to you're stuck in your ways and you're not going to change because you think there's something wrong with these kids. No, there's nothing wrong with them. They're just not like you, right? So, so that's what that was. So it goes back to the question: what role did I play toward ensuring that my staff understood our parents? And that's not that when I say understood, let's be very clear. I'm not saying that the parents are beneath you, right? Like you're here, they're here. I'm just saying culturally, there's a difference. And you have to understand that. I remember back in the day, and I wanted the parents to come out to all these meetings. And this is young me. This is young, very young Principal Kafele me. And they had to explain to me, Kafele, we don't have cars and we can't walk these neighborhoods. We can't walk these streets. I had to learn, Right now, I'm from that city. I'm born in, I claim I was born, but I was born in Orange, but I claim to be born in East Orange, right? So I'm raised there. I grew up there, but yet and still, I had to have parents to teach me. Kafele, we can't be walking these streets at 8 and 9 o'clock. It's too dangerous. That's what they would say, right? So I learned. So then we had to find other means of being able to communicate with parents, right? So what role did I play toward ensuring that my staff understood our parents? So because it's easy for teacher to say they don't care, right? They don't care about these kids. Look at how many are in the cafeteria at the PTA meeting, not knowing that maybe they don't have the transportation and maybe they deem it too dangerous. We were out doing these protest demonstrations in Newark. We would go anywhere there was a shooting. This is going back before Raz Baraka was mayor, right? For those of you that know that name, he ran for governor and came in second place. Impressive job. A super impressive job. He's gonna be on here too, but we're gonna have him on here in his old principal capacity. He knows that too, not as the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, but that's for another story. So we were doing these protest demonstrations anywhere there was a shooting, and so these were the activist community. But the parents were not coming out. They were looking at us through the windows. We went into the projects, and all the parents were looking out because there was a shooting right in the playground. The parents were looking through the window because they said, I can't come outside and I can't participate in that. That's not safe. We were out there and we were subjected to the same thing they would be, but we felt comfortable. But we didn't live there. They lived there, and that's what made it different. So I'm saying all that, giving you all these examples to say, what role did I play toward ensuring that my staff understood our parents? You got to teach. Can't be them old stereotypes and then jumping on some bus, I don't like this, man. I'll go on record. That little bus journey through a city and some tour guide talking about, okay, over here, because I was on a bus, I won't name the district, and because when I got there, they said, we want you to ride with us. Okay, over here, this is like a Crip neighborhood, they said. This is Crip. So the teacher's sitting there. Then they drive on. Okay, this is heavy blood over here. I'm like, what you reduce the community to an amusement park ride? I mean, that's what it looked like. What is this, like a tourist attraction? Right. So those of you that do them little bus tours, I ain't with that, man. There are other ways to learn that community. Let me tell you how. Get in your car and drive through and have the courage to do so. And if you're scared to drive through that community, that community is not for you. That's not for you. What Dr. Bill Ladson Billings say here, my breakthrough in South Philly came when I attended an Irish wake of one of my students honoring their culture, changed our entire relationship. I'm with you. I agree with that, Doc, because I've heard the same thing from teachers who said when they came to an African-American funeral, it said it changed them, right? Because they had never, particularly in a Baptist funeral or a Pentecostal funeral, it said it changed them dramatically because they had never experienced anything like that, and I've heard the same thing with some of the weddings, right? So particularly the reception. So yeah, it's a lot there. These are a lot of subtopics. And Doc, I probably need you to come back on here, man. You got so much, man. You got I'm gonna call you. Listen, so again, what role did I play toward ensuring that my staff understood our parents? Hey, leadership fam out there, that's on you. And even if you need to be trained, then you find that training. Gloria Ladson Billings would love to jump on an airplane and come to your school. Dr. Gloria Ladson Billings. She's the author of Dreamkeepers, by the way. And if you don't know the other books, you certainly know that book. Everybody know that book, right? Dreamkeepers, right? So reach out to her, and if you just want the kid, your brother, to come through, then reach out to me, right? Reach out to me. I love to come through, right? But Dr. Ladson Billings just said anytime. She might have been talking about when I said the invite. I appreciate that too. I'm gonna reach out to you, Doc. I don't have any openings until like February, but that's all right. It's February be here before you know it. Just like July 5th got here before we knew it. It was just a minute ago we were complaining about the cold weather in March, and now here we are, July 5th, and some of y'all wish you had that cold weather in March because it's sweltering, right? So anyway, let me go to this last one, number 20. Last one, y'all. Last one. what were some of the activities that we engaged our parents in this year? So now we're going beyond just talking, right? What you set up so that parents felt like they wanted to come through? What you put in place so the parents felt like, this is good. I really like it here. This is a good environment for my child. It's a good environment for me. Not only is my child benefiting from going to school here, but I'm benefiting. Imagine when you set up, for example, one of the things I did over the years, I would teach parents entrepreneurial, like how to become an entrepreneur. I would teach parents about goal setting in terms of just their own lives, their own careers, like how to get from the proverbial point A to point B. We packed the house because my role was nothing about parents. I mean, about children. My role was let me give you some strategy on how you get from point A to point B in your life. Because think about the volume of parents who had children young and who morphed into full-time parent and put their lives on hold. All right. So now as their children are getting older and they know that they still got a lot of life ahead of them, but have no clue how to get from the proverbial point A to point B, that's where I appear. That's when the teacher appeared. Right. So now I said, okay, let's have that conversation. Let's talk about you. Right. You still got your child. You're always going to be a parent. But let's not have you a full-time parent, even when your child's an adult. And now all that untapped potential within you, that capacity that you have in you, let's talk about that and how you bring that out and maximize your own potential and live your life on your terms. And guess what? They coming. They coming. Now the school, it's a win-win. We love the school because of what you do for my child, but we also love the school because of what you do for us, right? It's a win-win. What activities do you have in your school for parents this year, right? So that takes me to the conclusion. So here's what I want to give you. I said I had an assignment for you. And let me take that off the screen too, y'all. There we go. Hey, by the way, y'all, I can't see the New Orleans, 2 Pelicans. Like, what's he wearing? That's the New Orleans Black Pelicans. The back of it. Let me see if y'all can get any of this. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard. But anyway, it says Black Pelicans on the back. That's a Negro League team. This is not the jersey. Y'all know I got these summer mesh alternate jerseys. But where we at? Wrong sleeve. Where we at? Yeah, there we go. Black Pelicans, 1926, New Orleans. And this is an alternate mesh jersey that the company that I use, Ebbett Field, produces. So I've got a bunch of these that I wear in the summer, as well as the flannels that I wear, which I would never wear in the summer. They're too hot. I don't know how them players played in them shirts because I have the AC on when I used to wear them in the summer and I'm sweating like a dog. But anyway, know that team, not yet more history, the New Orleans Black Pelicans, right? So when you see the New Orleans Pelicans basketball team, now that gives you some context, right? Some of y'all probably like, how they come up with that name Pelicans? Let me show you the year again. 1926. See, it's so much history out here, y'all. It's so much history out here. They trying to sweep that under the rug, but when you got people on the scene like Dr. Gloria Latson Billings, you got the AP and New Principals Academy. We ain't gonna let you slip under. And again, I'm closing, y'all, but I read from this today, the life and writings of Frederick Douglass, what to the slave is your 4th of July. When I go off, go back and rewind this and go to the beginning. And this wasn't even my monologue, right? I just wanted to share that with you and give you some context. This is a 5-volume set, right? So go to page 192 and the excerpt that I read is right there. But read the whole speech. That's my ritual. Every July 4, I wake up in the morning, go on my steps outside, and I read that speech. That just centers me for the 4th of July madness, right? So get yourself a copy. I want to give you an assignment real quick. I'm hoping that between now and August 2nd, that's the first Saturday in August, that's when I go solo again, that you've compiled a list of some areas that you feel that you were effective, like short bullet points, a list of areas where you were effective this year, a list of areas where you feel that you could have been better this year. So some deficiencies, maybe some weaknesses, and a list of areas where you said, I need to pivot, right? Pivot meaning you can't fix this. Like the world has changed. It's shifted. And now I need to approach this thing differently. So those 3 layers, areas where you said, yeah, I'm good. Areas where you said, I need to get better, and areas where you said I need to pivot. And then I'm going to take all of that through the camera and compile it into a blueprint for you to start the 2025-26 school year, right? I've done it before, but I did it in a different context, and it's a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So we'll do it again, and we have a whole lot of newer fam in the community here, so so we'll have a good time. So I want y'all to do that. Hey, y'all, do me a favor. I don't usually do this on solos, but I'm gonna do it today. Today's session, outside of me going on tangents, let me know if this session was beneficial for you today. Don't flatter me either. Just let me know if it was beneficial, if it was useful, if you could use it, if you could incorporate it into your work. And those of you that don't know how we do that, we do it through emojis. Just give me those emojis. If today's session, if you found it to be useful for you, and the reason I'm doing this, I usually shy away from it saying like, why would I do that? I'm not one of the guests, but this is data. Remember, data is your story. So that was, if you didn't see the monologue this morning, then rewind or go to YouTube. When I'm done, it's there. And I said, data is your story. So if you all are on here and you decide not to leave any emojis, or you write on here, this was horrible, right? That's data for me. It helps me get better, right? But if it was a good session, if it resonated with you, if you would like me to continue to do these solo sessions, maybe that's a separate list. I don't know. On every first Saturday, oh man, I even got the applause from the GOAT, Dr. Gloria Ladson Billings, man. That's special. That's special. That's special. I used to read her work when I didn't know her, so that's special. Before I met her. So yeah, give me them emojis. I see them, man. I see them. Keep them coming. And that's my data, man. That lets me know, what I'm doing here. If I need to go harder, if I need to lighten up, if I need to not go solo and just rely on my guests. But y'all keeping them coming. So I see. So I'm gonna keep it coming, man. So look here, y'all. Let me close us out. The assignment for the next Saturday. Let me close for Saturday, August the 2nd. Yolanda said grand slams. I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all. Constance said page full of notes. I appreciate that. Because let me speak for myself. I think it was a great session, if I might say so myself. Right? Y'all know I'm silly, man. I thought this was useful. But don't forget, you got to go back to week 267. How could I forget that? Because this was part 2. I didn't write it as part 2 because I changed the wording of the title. But you got to go back to part 1, week 267, and you got to check that one out. It was called Let's Self-Assess Our Leadership Over the Past School Year. So if you missed that one, then go back. Appreciate you, Dr. Jackson. If you missed that one, go back to 267 and watch that. And then watch this again, right? It's just a lot there. It's a lot there. I wish I had this when I was a principal. I didn't have somebody that could pour into me on, we didn't have Zoom back then. We didn't have StreamYard. But I didn't have anybody in my space that was pouring into me like this, So, you got it. So, y'all join me next week for week 272. I'm signing off. 272. I got a good session, man, but I'm going to be doing it from Seattle at the United Conference. So I'm going to have to do a hard stop at 12:30, maybe 12:15, because I have to speak at 1 o'clock Eastern time, right? I'm doing a session in the exhibit hall, one of them kind of sessions where like everybody can hear you. And then I'm doing my own session in a room by my, with the group right after. So I'll be doing 2 sessions. Those of you that come into the United Conference, in fact, if you are coming, put it in the chat. If you come into the United Conference, I'm speaking next Saturday, July 12th at 10. I get it mixed up when I'm talking time zones on here. Look in the book, you'll see what time I speak, right? But I'm doing that exhibit hall presentation first, and I've done those before. Those are always fun because the whole place hears you, right? And then I'll be in a meeting room, Last year they gave me 1,000-seat room, so let's see what kind of size I get this year. But I'm gonna be doing my session, and my guest is Dr. Michelle Hope. Once again, Dr. Michelle Hope. She's the author of a very powerful book that you need. Author of Building a Strong Foundation, but the subtitle is what tells the story: How School Leaders Can Help New Teachers Succeed and Stay. Once again, how school leaders can help new teachers succeed and stay. You don't want to miss that one, whether it be live or the video, but you definitely want to see it, right? So make sure that you see it either way. But join me live, y'all. I'll be in Seattle 8 o'clock in the morning because it'll be Pacific time, but I'm going to be up and ready to rock. Every Saturday morning, Facebook Live, Sean Hurd at 10 o'clock, Create and Educate with Dr. Sheikah Houston, Dr. Tammy Taylor, 10:30. AP and New Principals Academy, 10:55. PDP Podcast, Josh Tovar, Dr. Marty Moreno on Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Those are all Eastern times. Don't forget, y'all, if you don't have a copy, get yourself a copy, right? Get yourself a copy. This book, man, just the volume of school districts who are buying them in bulk for their district administrative team. Man, I'm just so grateful for that. I walk into these rooms and it's like hundreds of them just sitting around. I'm like, oh my God. I'm so grateful for that. So get yourself a copy if you don't have a copy yet. And then don't forget it, my School Leadership Academy, School Leadership Institute with Principal Kafele, focusing on instructional leadership, July 15 and 16 in Raleigh. You get a free copy when you walk in, right? So just make sure that that you register, and then you get a copy when you walk in. If you already got a copy, give it to somebody who could use it. That's always helpful. Subscribe to the AP and New Principals Academy YouTube channel. We're almost at 24,100 subscribers. So make sure you subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And that way, when we go live on that platform, you'll know it. You hit the notification bell and then you'll know it, right? So so do me a solid and subscribe. Make sure you visit principalkafele.com. And then lastly, then I can stop talking so fast and start my day beyond the academy. Your diet. There's a lot of food at that cookout yesterday, but I ate in moderation. And mostly what I ate was fish and vegetables. I ain't mess with no ribs. None of that kind of stuff, man. Your diet, your exercise. I did 3 miles yesterday before the cookout. Today I'm taking off. We're going to hang with the wife today. I ain't doing no sweating today. But tomorrow, I'll be back out there. And your virus precautions, man. Some dude rode his bike past me yesterday when I finished my walk, coughing without covering his mouth. I'm like, man, you got some nasty people out here. Nasty people. So, but that's what it is. So you got to make sure you take whatever precautions you can. Other than that, y'all, I appreciate you for being here. And I will see you next Saturday. But make sure you have a safe week, and make sure it's a good and productive week. Even though you're off, you're on vacation. Take it down. But don't forget, school is right around the corner. Don't forget that. So, hey, have a great week. Have an extraordinary week. Have your best week yet. Peace. Peace. Thumbs up. Cock that fist all the way back. Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Bam! I'll see y'all next Saturday, man. Good to be with you today on this solo session.